Abu Dhabi is the name of both the emirate and its capital city. When we arrived on board the Oceana, we were welcomed by dancers in dish dashes, the traditional male costume, and a falcon, the national bird. The first place that most visitors head for is the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque. Ladies must wear sleeves to the wrist, trousers to the ankles and a head covering to go into the mosque. Men must wear long trousers and cover their shoulders. Visitors enter this glass dome and go down an escalator to the ticket hall. Entrance is free, but everyone must register and get a ticket, which will be scanned at various points in the building. Then long corridors and moving walkways go underground before arriving at the mosque entrance. Begun in 1996, the mosque was the opulent vision of the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, ruler of Abu Dhabi and President of the United Arab Emirates, who died before it was completed in 2007. The fountains are opposite the entrance, which is covered in fine filigree work and relief carving. The entrance arch has tiled murals and a domed ceiling. A corridor with marble pillars inlaid with semi-precious stones and topped with gold capitals surrounds the central courtyard. There's a 351-foot-high minaret at each of the four corners of the courtyard, and these have little balconies partway up. The floral courtyard covers 180,000 square feet and is thought to be the largest marble mosaic in the world. The domes above the main halls are topped with gold crescents. The floors and walls of the anteroom are made of white marble, inlaid with semi-precious stones. The chandelier is one of 7 in the mosque. The main prayer hall can hold over 7,000 worshippers. The biggest chandelier is the third largest in the world and is 33 feet in diameter and 49 feet high. Made in Germany, it contains thousands of Swarovski crystals and weighs about 12 tons. The carpet is considered to be the world's largest. It covers an area of 60,000 square feet, was made by 1,200 Iranian women, contains 2.25 billion hand-tied knots and took 2.5 years to make. There are 96 columns in the prayer hall, all covered in inlaid marble. Leaving the main prayer hall, the corridor walls are covered in relief flowers. This leads to the side garden. The mosque, which cost over £400 million, covers an area of 30 acres and employed more than 3,000 workers using natural materials sourced from all over the world. Reflecting pools run alongside the outer courtyard. When your feet are killing you, a little buggy will take you back to the entrance. Abu Dhabi has some interesting street names. The Emirates Heritage Village is a reconstruction of a traditional desert village before the discovery of oil and the building of skyscrapers and shopping malls. There are various styles of shelters and dwellings in authentic settings. Wool canopies were used in cold weather, whilst in summer a simple brush stockade keeps the wind off guests as they're given coffee. Livestock was always kept nearby. In the lowlands, people lived in tents made of sackcloth supported by tree branches. Mountain houses made of stone were warm in winter and cool in summer. The roofs were made of palm fronds and clay. Of course, every village had its mosque. Traditional boats are on the beach against a backdrop of the modern city. There's a museum within a replica fort. Behind the fort is a vegetable garden in which the ancient irrigation system is demonstrated. When water is needed in a particular area, the mud plug is removed from the side of the channel. There's also a small souk where one can buy traditional crafts, perfumes and spices. The city of Abu Dhabi is ultra-modern, but right in the centre is the 18th century Qasr al-Hosn, the former Sheikh's palace. It's now a museum. It began as a conical watchtower built to defend the only freshwater well in Abu Dhabi. Expanded over the years, it has in turn provided housing, shops and, until 1966, the seat of government. Various rooms have been dressed as the Sheikh's quarters and those of his mother. It's an interesting juxtaposition between the old fort and the solar panel-topped modern skyscrapers. The guards marched off reasonably well, but eventually just gave up. Maybe they were supposed to be guarding the Sheikh's Land Rover. About 100 miles from Abu Dhabi city, close to the border with Oman, is the garden city of Al Ain, meaning the spring. Here stands the Jahli Fort, one of the largest forts in the Emirates. It's just the kind of fort one imagined as a child. As with many of these forts, the first structure was a watchtower built to defend a waterhole. Work began in 1891 and it became the summer residence of the ruling family to avoid the humidity of the coast. The first buildings were a square, high-walled fort and a separate round tower composed of 4 concentric tiers. In the early 1950s, British forces incorporated the fort into a larger enclosure that formed their regional headquarters. In 2008, after a major rehabilitation project, the fort was opened to the public. Al Ain is famous for its Camel Market. Camels come in 3 colours: black, brown and almost white, and value depends on what they're used for. The most prized are racing camels, and these can cost vast amounts of money. Next are the ones that appear in the world's largest beauty pageant every December. About 20,000 camels compete not for cash prizes, but Range Rovers, pickup trucks and, for the best, immortalisation in Bedouin poetry. Third come the milking camels. Camel milk is salty compared to cow's milk and contains much less fat. The bottom of the pile are those used for meat. Who knows what the future will hold for these calves? The Al Ain Museum is based in the palace of the former President of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Zayed and his family. The palace contains several buildings set in well-tended gardens. This is a reception room, and next door is the nursery. In one courtyard is a well, which used a camel's stomach as a bucket. In another is a replica Grand Court tent representing a link with Bedouin life. Just outside the gate is the Land Rover that the Sheikh used to visit Bedouin communities. Just around the corner is the Al Ain Oasis, the largest of 7 in the city. The site sprawls across 3,000 acres and contains 147,000 date palms. Date palms can be either male with light yellow flowers or female with dark yellow ones. Only the female trees produce dates, so they plant 1 male tree for every 1,000 female. There's an irrigation system like the one in the Heritage Museum, and the palms are only watered once a month. Incidentally, Arabic coffee used to be made from roasted date stones and was drunk without sugar, followed by a sweet date to take away the bitterness. Workers climb the trees using the stumps of old fronds as a ladder. Once at the top, they tend to the trees to ensure pollination and to protect the young fruits from birds. We return to our ship, having learned so much about this Islamic state.